What is going on, guys? My name is Bucky Roberts and welcome to your very first tutorial in Foundation. Now, before we actually get into working with Foundation and making any cool websites, I want to explain to people just starting out with responsive web design exactly what Foundation is. So if you go to the site and you start reading about it, it's like, okay, the most advanced responsive front-end framework. Alright, well, if you guys don't even know what a responsive website is, then we probably should understand that first. So, whenever anyone says a responsive website, what they mean is a website that looks good on every single device. Because there are a lot of different ways that people look at websites. They look at them on, big screens like desktops and laptops. They look at them on medium screens like tablets and also tiny little screens like phones. So, as web designers, it's really difficult to design a website that looks good on, a big desktop and also a tiny little phone. I mean, if you try to make it for the phone, then you look at it on a computer, everything's going to be spaced out and jumbo. And if you try to look at, like a desktop site on a phone, everything's going to be really tiny and you got to zoom in. So that's a challenge that we have first. So I'll show you an example first of a website that's not responsive. So this is the new Boston.com, and right now we're in the kind of a transition stage where we have the site right now and we're trying to convert it into a responsive design, but this is the current non-responsive design. So right now on a desktop it looks great, but look what happens when you start to shrink it. Okay, looks good. Wait a minute. Look at it now. So if you were to look at this on a phone, instead of, kind of adapting to the proper size and adjusting everything properly, it just starts cutting everything off. So that is not responsive. And I'll show you guys the new responsive design. So here is our new responsive design. Posts, pictures, friends. And look what happens now whenever we start shrinking this. So here would be the desktop site, the full menu, whatnot. And if you were to look at it on a smaller device, look what happens. It automatically adapts. This content right there gets pushed under the About section. The menu automatically shrinks to just icons instead of icons and text. And if you were to look at it on an even smaller device like a phone, the menu gets hidden completely and then you can just open it like that. So this is a responsive design. In other words, it's adaptable and it looks great no matter whether you're looking at it on, a desktop, a phone, whatever. Alright, so that's what responsive means. We definitely want to develop responsive sites instead of non-responsive sites for obvious reasons. So how do we do that? Well, you can just do it all by hand. So if you were to do it all by hand, you would have to add a bunch of conditionals that say, when the screen is this size, then do this. When the screen is that size, do that. And, maybe you want to hide something, this, that. It's a lot of work. So that's why people made these frameworks. Now, a framework is pretty much a bunch of stuff that you're going to use, and it's developed for you behind the scenes. So instead of just worrying about, okay, what's the exact pixel size of the screen, how are these things going to move around whenever the screen shrinks, all of the stuff is taken care of for you in a framework, so you can just worry about, making your website look cool and making it functional. So that's what Foundation is. So sounds pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get started. So you can probably guess how to get started already. Probably click this big download Foundation button, and let's just go ahead and download everything. So we're going to download everything. It's pretty much the toolkit that says, hey, I want to make a responsive website. This is where we're going to start. So whenever you download everything, it gives you the zip file. So I'm going to double click this. Let me shrink this so you guys can see. Alright, so it gives you this zip file right here. And if you just right click and hit extract all, then that location looks good. Alright, so it extracts this folder right here, and if you are using, whatever IDE you want to use, after you extract it, go inside that folder that you just extracted, copy all of the contents right here, and this is pretty much your starting point. So this is the very basic beginning of a website. From here you can add more pages and do whatever you want to do. So you can actually double click this file right here, and you see that this index file is the one that it gave you by default. Now, if you guys are using a JetBrains IDE like I am, then instead of downloading it every time, I'll show you guys a really handy way to get all those files. So anytime you want to start making a responsive website, then what you do is you go to File, New Project, and you go to Static Web, Foundation. Now all this is going to do is it's going to download the files for you and extract them, but it'll save you a little bit of time. So where do you want to, save all your web files? I'll save it on my desktop in a directory called Foundation. So I'm going to hit Finish, and I'll open it in this window and check it out. So as you can see, it just gives you all of the same files. So there you go. So we're basically at the same point as if you were to download them manually, but now you don't have to go to the website and click the download button. So it's pretty much, how to set it up for lazy people. So check this out. I'm going to click this index.html, and like we just saw, it gives us the same starting file. So if I right click and run this, this is the default, the single web page that it gave us to start out with. But here's the thing. See, we don't even know how to use Foundation and all yet. We're just getting started. So this right here, it's not really a good starting point if you ask me, because look at all this crap in here. You don't know what this stuff is. So instead, what I did is I made you guys a real template. So if you go to my GitHub page, and I'll show you guys right now, and click on source code from tutorials, and then go to Foundation, click on this template right here. This is an actual bare bones template, and it's a much better one to get started. So right click this and hit copy, and now just replace your current code with this. So rip out everything that Foundation gave us in index.html and just paste this in. And now whenever we run this, check it out. It just gives us a blank slate without all this extra crap on it. And this is the starting point that I'm going to be using to teach you guys Foundation from the ground up. It's going to be awesome, and that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. So I'll see you then.